Hello, I'm calling to speak to YouTube headquarters, please. Thank you. Hi, yes, I would like to be a monetized member of your clan. Sorry, organization. My name. Jordan Paul. Yeah, that's right, Logan Paul's brother. Yeah, that's right, I'm a new one, not the other one, a new one. Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm starting my own channel. I'm in? Great. You need me to film a dead body in the forest? Sure. I mean, we're gonna be doing movie reviews, but that's fine. You also want me to hit my kids on camera and then call it a prank. All right, well, we've got the technology for it. I don't see the use of it, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. You need me to stream myself playing video games and saying the N-word. Yeah, I don't know if we're really gonna be... no, this isn't room 666. I don't know who room 666 is, okay? I'm a Paul, okay? And I'll die a Paul. Welcome to room 666. Today we're going to be reviewing the new Spike Lee joint, BlacKkKlansman. The film stars John David Washington, Adam Driver, Laura Harrier, and Topher Grace. That's right, Topher Grace is in a Spike Lee joint. You want to hear about it? And he plays David Duke, leader of the KKK, baby. That's right. Let's talk about Spike Lee. Let's talk about BlacKkKlansman. Now, what is BlacKkKlansman about? It is based on the true story of Ron Stallworth, who was an African-American police officer in Colorado Springs, who was able to successfully infiltrate the KKK over the phone, and also using kind of one of his white partners to stand in for him when he actually has to meet the KKK. And this is all based on a true story, and it's all pretty crazy. Spike Lee is back, and he's having fun again. Now, Chirac kind of had a frantic, kind of wild energy to it, but that didn't all just add up. It didn't come together, and it was kind of a big leap for him. He was doing kind of crazy stuff. It was this weird kind of Shakespearean kind of musical type thing. Very strange. Here, though, he's got this really frantic, just wild energy. It's fun. It's a fun film. That's really a strange thing to say for the fact that this subject matter is pretty wild. It's pretty heavy, and but when it needs to handle that, when it needs to be dramatic, when it needs to be thrilling, I think Spike does a great job of doing that. But the best thing I liked about it was how funny it was. The performances are very funny. One thing that Spike does well is that he makes the white supremacists goofy and just very sad individuals. You just look at them and you just laugh. You can't take them seriously. Casting Topher Grace as David Duke is just genius because he really adds to that. It really, he could have got a very serious actor, someone like Paul Dano, who could have maybe taken that role very seriously, kind of, gotten all David Duke's mannerisms and done all these things. And I think that would have made it too serious, whereas Topher Grace, you kind of can't take him seriously. And that's not to say that he's a bad actor, but you know him from kind of like things like the 70s show and stuff like that. So when you see him as David Duke, you see David Duke as a joke. And I think that works really well. I think that's genius in casting that. And there's just so much great things that he does here, especially with keeping it relevant for today. Obviously, it's relevant with everything going on with Trump and all the crazy white supremacist shit that's happening. But the reason that I really did enjoy this film was because of the idea of how back in that time, Black Americans and even Jewish Americans had to live this kind of double identity kind of life, right? They couldn't just be Jewish. They couldn't just be out wearing yarmulkes and just things like that. And they couldn't just celebrate Hanukkah. And then Black Americans couldn't just talk the way they wanted to talk. They had to act a certain way around white people who were Americans and just act a certain way in order to be accepted, in order to not be, ridiculed and just treated like shit. And it just is a great kind of look at that because you have Adam Driver and John David Washington, who are both undercover cops, but they also still are living those undercover lives as Americans, trying not to be Jewish, trying not to be black, or trying not to be Jewish for Americans or black for Americans, trying to be the black and a Jewish American that they want. And that's a really good message. It doesn't dig too deep into that. It would have been nice if it does, but I think it's a good choice because this is very much a general audience movie. It's not some indie film that's going to kind of Oscar baited, that's going for, all kinds of awards. It's just a fun social message, kind of in a way that Sorry to Bother You is, but not as kind of out there and wacky. This one is really driving home a message, and it's not hitting you over the head with it, but you understand what it's saying, and you get it, and it's sad, and it's terrible, but he has enough fun with it. You feel the energy coming out of it that you're just like, wow, this is a really fun, funny movie. And I appreciate what Spike Lee has done because he did that. I think that's why I like this movie so much. Spike, you're crazy for this one. Sometimes you get a Spike Lee joint, it'll be a little sour, a little nasty, and you're just like, oh, it's not bad, but you won't finish the whole thing. But then you'll get a joint, you'll get like a Malcolm X, or a Do the Right Thing, or a big old fat Inside Man, and oh man, you'll take that whiff and you'll be like, I'm smoking this one all the way down, baby. And that to me, that this one feels like one of those. It's not up to par with those, but it has a lot of the good elements from those films in it, and I really appreciate it. Did you guys know that our man Denzel Washington's got a son? And he's out here acting, and Spike Lee joins just like his papa? That's right. John David Washington is Denzel Washington's son. And look, I'm not going to say he's a bad actor. He's not as great as an actor as Denzel, because this is just one role. And it's not really that really meaty of a role. He's got confidence. He's got the swagger. And I think he's a leading man. Definitely he's a star in the making. And he does really a great job in this film. But the character itself is just sort of a very confident. There's this idea that he's going to go undercover to go see an ex-Black Panther, talk to a group of, Black revolutionaries, people who are trying to, get justice for Black people. And he's all about that stuff, but he's never kind of really seen it radicalized that way. So when he goes to that meeting, he's kind of hearing all those things being said, and it's making sense to him. But he's also a cop. So he's, and a lot of things they're saying are against cops, but he knows that cops are good. He's very proud to be a cop. There's never any question in his mind that he isn't a cop or that he's not proud to be one. He understands that there are bad cops, but to him, he feels like he can change things from the inside. And even though there is that kind of idea that pushes against that, he still is always confident in that what he's doing is right. He's a cop. He still has Black pride, and he's still trying to change things. And that really just comes off in his performance. He's just confident. He says his lines, and he moves with this swagger that you're just like, oh yeah, that is Denzel Washington's son. Sometimes he even sounds like him in a few moments. So I really enjoyed the performance in here. And like I said, the character is not this meaty kind of role, but it's a good role, and it moves the story along, and he had a lot of fun with it, so I enjoyed it. Can't wait to see what he does next. Let's talk about Adam Driver, the real Baby Driver. That's right. Adam Driver, he always delivers. He's never bad in anything he does, but sometimes he's better than other things. And here, he really kind of brings this just great character to what could have just been kind of a straightforward, not, who cares kind of character. He brings that kind of idea, which is more, it doesn't get too deep into it with him, but it does more so than John David Washington's character. He kind of have that struggle where he's like, look, I don't care about these KKK guys. Like, this is just a job to me. But then he starts to realize that he is Jewish. And even though he didn't really get bar mitzvahed or really celebrate Hanukkah, he starts to realize once he's kind of around all this hate and all this rhetoric, and he has to kind of pretend to hate Jews and all this stuff, he kind of realized that he maybe had that kind of like self-loathing about himself, and he kind of had to be this other person. Like I said, he had to be an American. He couldn't just be Jewish. And he starts to realize that maybe he should be proud of that. And you really always feel that in Adam Driver's performance. There's always a vulnerability in him. He always does a great job of just making these characters real. And to me, this felt like, it's fun in a way that like something like Logan Lucky was kind of trying to be. And Adam Driver's in that movie. It's the only reason I'm kind of making that comparison, because Logan Lucky just kind of meanders. It doesn't really have a point. It's just kind of like an exercise for Steven Soderbergh to do. Here, it kind of has that same feel, but there's more energy to it, there's more life to it, and there's an actual message behind it. And so I think that's why Adam Driver was able to bring more to the specific role. So I really enjoyed it. Him and John David Washington have great chemistry together. They're really funny together. Adam Driver, keep doing stuff like this. Keep working with directors, finding scripts that are just interesting to you, and that seems like what you're doing, so kudos to everyone involved. And last but not least, we have Laura Harrier. She plays the love interest. She's kind of like this Angela Davis kind of Black Panther radical, and she does a great job in this. Unfortunately, she doesn't have really much to do. She's kind of just there to move the main story along, but she does a fine job. You have Topher Grace, who is just David Duke, right? I mean, goofy-ass David Duke. And I don't mind Topher Grace. I think he's fine. I don't think he's a bad actor. But like I said before, I understand why he's David Duke, because it makes you want to smack him. You just want to smack him every time he opens his mouth. And hearing Topher Grace say some racist shit, you're just like, I'm going to get you. But it's more like David Duke, not Topher Grace. You're just like, David Duke's a fucking goofy-ass fool. And so the casting with all the people who are in this, they have the big fat guy from I, Tonya, who's kind of playing the same character, but he's just a white supremacist. That's really funny. I enjoyed everybody. All the cast coming together. It just works. It's like an ensemble. No one's going to win an Oscar for an individual performance, but as a whole, they all are a moving part, and it's just funny, fun, and you can feel that. You feel the vibe in it. They all have a great chemistry, so kudos. All right, in conclusion, I really enjoyed BlacKkKlansman. It is so far in the top 10 of the year for me, And I think general audiences are really going to enjoy this. It's not some indie flick that people aren't going to be able to sit through. It's actually a really fun and funny, just exciting little thriller and drama sometimes, and it's very dealing with social issues that are relevant today. And I think that's another reason for people to go see it. It doesn't really feel like it should be a summer movie, but in my opinion, it really is. So get out there, make it #1 at the box office. Spike Lee deserves to get a Best Director nomination. I mean, I don't know if he deserves to win. This isn't his best work or anything, but, you know, I think he's really doing something here. It shows that he's having fun. It's got a lot of energy to it. I really think everyone should check this out. So that's 2 thumbs up for me, baby. That's right. I'm going with 2 thumbs up. I'm stealing that from Siskel and Ebert. What are they going to do?